Hello, hello. Welcome everybody to Nehemiah African Projects. If this is your first time, you're most welcome. My name is Dr. Rafaro, and we have been going through some various opportunities for the African diaspora, specifically the U.S. African diaspora, to invest in various African countries. So this is the second video where we're showing a second scenario. The very first scenario, we were talking about land banking. Land banking is an exceptional opportunity. It's been around for decades, years, hundreds of years. People have been doing it in various forms. And so if land banking is for the long term, uh, when it comes to now, we're going to talk about real estate, specifically Airbnb. That is long for the long term in terms of real estate, but definitely it's more of switching to the focus on cash flow. And if it's your cash flow apartment, it could be their vacation, essentially. So we're going to be talking about investing in African Airbnb real estate. And so we've been just picking three sample countries, talking about Kenya, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe, all of which have varying economies and currencies and different situations, but still show the potential for all three locations. So with Airbnb, we are talking about cash flow. So before land banking, we were just talking about real asset appreciation over the long haul, and you could resell that land. In the future at a given point, we use a 5 year example, but here we're talking about purchasing perhaps a two-bedroom apartment in one of these countries: Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, Lagos, Nigeria, or Harare, Zimbabwe. And for Airbnb, it has to be in a hot market, a popular area. This is not necessarily for the low key suburbs, which you still can pull that off with Airbnbs because some people do look for kind of just low key, relaxing spots. Some people even look for rural, but for the purposes of this example, we're talking about a two-bedroom apartment in an urban area, in a hot urban area. Um, and that's important if you want to get set up quickly and start earning pretty decent amount of cash flow fairly quickly. So for illustrative purposes, once again, this is all for illustrative purposes, for educational purposes. We use market data here, an aggregate of market data. For all three countries, we are assuming a two-bedroom apartment in around about the range of 75,000 USD. And again, it's going to vary with the location that you select. But the beautiful thing about African real estate, I know real estate is here, Airbnb is certainly popular here in the US, of course. But with African Airbnb real estate, the beautiful thing is when you decide you want to purchase, let's say, a two-bedroom apartment, and let's say the cost is $75,000, you have real estate developers who are willing for you to put down 10%, which would be 7,500, and they allow you to pay the remainder of the balance over maybe 18 months, or in some cases even 24 months, which is 2 years. So it allows you to spread the cost of purchasing that apartment, of acquiring that apartment. And the beautiful thing is you're not dealing with a mortgage, folks. So there's no interest. It's just a payment plan. You pay 7,500 to get started, and then every month you decide, hey, I'm gonna do an extra side hustle to contribute to my savings. And every month I am gonna send X amount of money towards paying and purchasing this two-bedroom apartment. So imagine owning a property and you don't have a mortgage, and you're doing this under 2 years. 1 year, or even 18 months. This is completely doable, folks. And that's the exciting thing about acquiring real estate. This is very much doable. Now, some markets, the bigger the property, it could be a two-bedroom property, but if it's like really big and the price is well above 100K, it might take you a little bit longer. But the principle still stands. No mortgage. In some markets, they are starting to introduce mortgages, but it is not as a standard as you find here in the US. So, opportunity, 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 folks. So, in all of these situations, we're assuming a 55% occupancy. So, that means out of the year, 55% of the nights are booked in this Airbnb. And we have here, based on data, just a market average of what a nightly rate could be in each of the locations. Again, for example, in Lagos, Nigeria, I've definitely seen Airbnbs that are far north of $100 a night. So it all depends on the quality of the property, the location, and maybe if you have a few added services. For example, some people decide to arrange transportation for their guests to and from the Airbnb. The sky is the limit. But for the purposes of this example, the rates there you see, Kenya, $55 a night, Nigeria, 65, and Zimbabwe, $45. So it then shows that with a 55 occupancy rate, what a monthly average could then be, right? And there's always going to be maintenance cost, right? So this includes maybe even your platform fees on Airbnb. Uh, maybe you hire a company to do all the cleaning, and if any maintenance is required. So we assume 25% of the cost. And then also utilities, which in most African countries, you pay for the year. So you pay for the year. Sometimes it's pre-metered, and you pay for the whole year, the utilities required. And some even install backup solar energy, just to either augment or completely use. So minus 25% of maintenance costs, you see they're listed. And then so illustrative monthly cash flow, we're talking about all of these are definitely north of $500. In Nigeria, they're $800. And the typical monthly remittance, say this is maybe you were, sending $200, $400 over to a particular African country to support your family. Well, you can double that. What you make with the cash flow with the Airbnb will supersede, in most cases, what you would have just sent in remittances, right? And remember, remittances is sent and it's spent. But here, if you allocate some of those funds to an investment, you acquire property with no mortgage, and it now starts producing almost double in some cases of what you would have just spent to remittances. So even if you send, okay, out of that, I was going to send $400 back home to support family and community or whatever the case may be, and 400 is relatively high, but it just depends on different people's situation. You'll see that you still have net cash flow, which is amazing. So we're talking about cash flow here, folks. And this is very powerful. Again, moving from remittances to investments. And the biggest thing here, on top of the cash flow, on top of being able to, hey, I'm still able to support my family, because we never said stop doing that. But the US African diaspora is in a wonderful position, and it has always been, to really start shifting and allocating some of those funds towards investment. An investment that you can acquire with no mortgage means that you are earning cash flow, real cash flow sooner. Because here in the States, you do an Airbnb, most likely you still got a mortgage payment attached to that two-bedroom apartment or that three-bedroom house or whatever you're using, that vacation home. You still got way more cost than that 25% maintenance that I was just alluding to there. And there's different ways that you can manage that. But if you want to be completely remote, you hire a team to do, clean up, check on the property, put clean, make sure the place is clean and top notch. And the more you invest in that, potentially the more that you can also increase the nightly rate. So I hope that makes sense. A lot of sense, folks. Just out here trying to help folks just realize the opportunity that is at hand. Again, imagine acquiring two-bedroom apartment for Airbnb in a hot market and you don't have a mortgage attached to it. That alone should get us thinking. Not to talk of the cash flow potential that you see listed there, and being able to, even if you decide to send $400 in remittances out of that cash flow to help support family or communities or pay someone school fees that you're trying to help out, you will still have cash flow. So that's going from just remittances to investments and really building wealth systems. So I hope that helps folks. Feel free to send any list any comments if you have any questions. But everything I'm talking about is things that I have real world experience with. It's not theoretical. This is possible in many African countries. And it's just about your mindset, doing that mindset shift first, and then seizing the opportunity. So, thank you very much for watching Nehemiah African Projects, and we look forward to bringing much more content. Thank you.